Let's take a quick look at the expressions available to us. There are many tests available. The Bash manual page is the reference for what tests are available to do. Test is a built-in command to Bash. This is a brief list of common test expressions useful for file testing. Note that all of these are what we call unary tests. They test one thing. They have an operator, dash and a single character, and then the name of a file to test. We are testing attributes of files or characteristics of files when we do a unary test on a file. Each of these tests returns true if the thing we're testing is in place, is true. If we wanted to test for the falsehood of it, we could put the exclamation mark in front of the operator, and it inverts the test result. If it was going to be true, now it's false. If it was going to be false, now it's true. As an example, I could do a test that says test if there is no file /foobar. We aren't ready for the if statement yet. And if this test is true, in other words, there is no file, not a file, foobar, now we could do something like create the file. And if that works, do whatever we're going to do with the file, and so on. So the exclamation mark, or bang, can be thought of as the word not in front of your test. To make our command do something harmless, we'll go ahead and print out that it's not a file, because indeed it's not there. These are testing single characteristics of files in a unary test. There are also binary tests. A binary test compares two things. To do a binary test, you need a binary test operator. -E, -F, -D, -R, -W, -H, -S, and others are unary tests. They test one item. The form for a unary test is operator space thing to test. The form for a binary test is the first thing, the operator that specifies the type of comparison, and the second thing to compare it to. And of course, you can still use the exclamation mark in front of the test operator to reverse the sense of the test. If it was going to be true, it's false. If it was going to be false, it's now true. When working with data, we have different test operators than when we work with files. When we work with data, we're working with variables or literal text, or we may wish to work with numbers. Bash treats all input as text as a general rule. So there are some rules for how our tests need to run based on that. You can test if a variable exists with the -v operator followed by the variable name. For that test to be true, the variable simply has to exist. It can have data in it. It can have no data in it. As long as it exists, the test is true. To test if there is data present, we have the -z or -n operators. The -z operator tests whether or not there is no text. So if there is text after the -z, it will fail. The example on the slide will fail. If we were wanting to test for real, we might have a variable that happens to contain no data. I've now created a variable called myvar with no data. If I wanted to test if it was empty or has 0 text in it, I could do the -z with myvar. Note that I must put it inside quotes. Otherwise, when bash removes the $myvar to put the content there, the line will just read test-z with nothing to test, and the test will give you a syntax error. So make sure when you're testing for the non-existence of data to put quotes around the thing you're testing. Test, of course, produces no output, so I need to do something with the exit status, such as choosing to run a command. In this case, the -z test will be true if myvar is 0 length or empty, so I'll print that out. The -n test is the opposite. It tests if there is data present. So if I were to do this test with -n, it will be true only if there is something in myvar. So I can go ahead and print out that myvar has data with the -n test. Myvar, of course, is empty, so it doesn't print out that it has data. If I were now to put data into myvar and test with -n, I should find that it now has data in it. These tests, -z and -n, make no sense whatsoever to do with literal text, such as shown on the slide, because that text will always either exist or not exist, and there's no point in testing it. When we're testing data, we may choose to test strings, or we may choose to test on the command line. When testing strings, there are 2 tests of interest: equals or not equals, which is essentially the equals test with the exclamation mark in front of it. Very simply, if the value of the 2 strings is the same, the equal test will return true, the not equal will return false. As an example, if I have a string of text with the character 1 in it, and I wish to see if it is equal to the string of text 0, 1, I should find that if this is true,